right, let's get going here on section 3. This is the fun section, so we've been waiting to actually get into the software and do something, and this is it. So let's talk a little bit about the objectives that we're going to meet here in the next little bit. As we get through this, you should be able to open, close, and position the table of contents and catalog windows. I think you've already kind of come close to that, if not finished that. You should be able to pan and zoom on a layout and within a layout, on a map and within a layout. Set up bookmarks in a map, super useful. And then the big part, we're going to take some time here with these last two objectives. Add data to a map in multiple ways, and then add data to a map from several sources. And that's where things get exciting, because we're starting to look at different sources of data and what do we want to see on this map. So, first question. How do I open a new or existing map in my project? So let's go ahead and go to the start pane so that you can see this. Now, my computer here at home is a little weird. This is my ArcMap icon for some reason, or my ArcGIS Pro icon. For some reason, when I installed it, it didn't come up with the icon, but I'm going to click on that to pull up the start pane. So if you're ready to dive into a project, that means you're like, all right, I've got the data, I'm ready to get things set up. We've got one option, and if you just want to kind of like mess with things and check them out, you've got another option. So let's get the start pane up here, and go ahead and work along with me. So you will not get these warnings. We're just close to the end of our license. All right, and so your start pane is going to look a little bit different than mine, and the reason is I've got a bunch of projects that I've been working on already, and you probably don't. So this is just kind of the stuff I've been messing around with recently. But if you're ready to dive right into a project, you're going to click here on Map, all right? And that's going to start, it's going to save it to the place where you always, save your things. And it's going to, or where you set up, GIS to save, and it's going to set up your new geodatabase and all of the pieces of a new project when you're ready to get to work on it. So we're going to come back and we're going to click on that one. If you're just messing around, like a lot of times I want to open GIS just to see something really quick, like I just want to pull up a base map and take a look at it, or I just want to test out some data and see what it looks like on the map because I'm curious about it, but I'm not really ready to start a project. I don't want to create all those files and save them. I start without a template. So if you're just, like I said, if you're just messing around, or maybe you want to move some files around in the catalog to do some organization, or you just want to see what something looks like on a map, start without a template. But if you're ready to start a project and you're going to make something new, we're going to start with a new map, and that's actually what we're going to do today. So let's click on Map here. Now, do you think naming your project My Project is a great idea? No, because you're going to end up with My Project 1, My Project 2, My Project 3, and you're going to be like, what the heck was that? So today, for this demonstration, work along with me, and we're going to call this Section 3, Demo. All right, so this is our demonstration for Section 3 in ArcGIS Basics, and what you should notice after all the work you did in the last couple demonstrations is it should be saving to where you told it to save to, and I'm saving everything to my demonstration files because that's what I'm doing. I'm running a demonstration for you, but you'll probably have something saved to your class folder, and then this checkbox means that a new folder is going to be created for the project. It will have the same name that you gave the project, and inside of that folder will be things like your new geodatabase, okay, that goes along with the project. So let's hit OK here. And to remind ourselves what we just did, let's run back to our PDF. And back to our PDF. Come on. And if from the start pane, if you're ready to dive into a project, choose the map option. And if you're just messing around, start without a template. Okay, so we just did that. All right, so here we go into our project. And when you start a project up with a map, it's going to give you a default map going on here, and it's going to, because we're here in the United States, it's going to give us a map centered on the United States. And the default base map, which we'll talk about shortly, is the world topographic map, and then it's got a hill shade applied to it as well. So over here in the contents pane, we see our map, and the title of our map is going to go here. And then we see the two pieces of the base map. So this base map is made with an overlay with places and geographic boundaries on it. So if I turn that off by unclicking it, we just have the hill shade underneath. So if we kind of wanted to like zoom into our region here, here's the Columbia Basin, here we are in Spokane. So we could turn the world topographic map back on and we'll see our boundaries. There's Spokane, and we could turn the world hill shade off. And then we would have less busyness, and it really depends on, we'll talk about base map shortly, it depends on the purpose of your map, what you're going to do here. So let's pop back here into our key questions. So when might we want to add a new map to an existing project? So when you start a project with a map, it's going to have that base map just like we looked at, and we may want to have multiple maps within a project that focus on different areas. For example, if I were creating a map that maybe highlighted community colleges in Washington with a focus on Spokane Community College, I might want to have one of my maps just include a bunch of details about Spokane Community College. Let's find us. We are usually right in Minnehaha. There we are, right there. So we might want to have one map that was zoomed into Spokane Community College, and we're going to add some detailed information about the college here. And then we might want to have another map that was focused on all of the community colleges in Washington State. So maybe, you know, you'd gotten out of high school and you're like, you know what, I think I'd like to start at a community college, but I'm not sure which one. And so you could kind of see where they were located. Why might we want to add a new map? A project may focus on more than one geographical area, or it may focus on one geographical area at different scales. So that would be a great reason to have more than one map. So maybe you're looking at game reserves and you wanted to look at game reserves in Africa, but also in parts of Southeast Asia, because you were planning like a trip to see some exotic, do some exotic sort of trip things. So then you might have multiple maps. So really you can be looking at a similar theme in different areas, or you can be looking at a different scale. Maybe I wanted to look at the community college campus and then where it sat with respect to Spokane. And maybe I was looking for like apartments and I wanted to see, okay, what neighborhoods are close to the college. So how do we add a new map? You're going to go up here to the Insert tab. Okay, so I'm on the Insert tab right now. We got Project, right? Project takes you way out there. You go to Map tab, Insert tab, Analysis tab, View tab. So these tabs up here, right, give you different ribbons. But if I wanted to go to the Insert tab, that's where I'm going to insert a new map. And I could say New Map. Now we're just working with maps in this course. There are three-dimensional stuff that you can mess around with here, but I just want a new map. Okay, now I've got Map and Map 1. All right, so maybe the first map was just looking at Spokane Community College, and my second map, I'm just going to zoom into the whole state of Washington. All right. So let's go back to our PDF here. So yeah, here's where you add a new map to an existing project. So right here, new map. And I said circle the button that will add a new map to your existing project. Yeah, do that. I'm not sure that I can do that here. Probably can. Fill inside, export, scan, highlight. Right. Okay, so go ahead and circle, add a new map. So that's where you're going to add a new map. And add text, edit, add image. Yeah, I'll close that. All right, so if your project has a few maps in it, you might have seen in this project we're creating that, oh gosh, we've got 2 different maps. And if I go over here to my catalog and I look in my maps here, I'm going to go ahead and pin that so it stays put. And I open up my maps. Now I've got map and map 1. And so I might close this map, right? And now I'm like, okay, I don't have it up here. I might close both the maps. I'll be like, oh, which one did I want to open? So if your project has more than a few maps in it, it's often easier to keep some closed. Yes, like if you have 7 or 8 maps, you just tabbing between them is a pain. So defining each map with a descriptive title, yes, will help keep them organized. And so that's a big part of becoming an efficient GIS user is your organization skills. So it's organizing your files and it's organizing your maps and your layouts within a project. I will tell you, some of you may more easily fall into that careful, detailed organization side of things. Good for you, stay that way. Some of you may be like me, where you naturally fall into disarray and disorganization. That's okay, it can be learned. I've gotten way better. I'm a lot better at labeling things and organizing things in my folders than I used to be, but you just want to keep on it, okay? So if you're not a naturally detail-oriented person, it's okay. You too can succeed. I believe in you, and we'll get through this. But you just need to keep at it, keep practicing, keep trying. So let's give our map some names. There's a few ways to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click on map, and I'm going to open it. So I've added it to the project. Okay, and this is the one where we were focused in on Spokane Community College. So one way I can name it is by double-clicking the title. If I double click the title over here in the contents, it's going to give me information about that map, which we will absolutely use in the coming sections. Today we're just going to change its name, and I'm going to call this Spokane Community College. All right, I'll say okay. All right, so I can name it that way. I can also name it by this next map. I don't even have it open, but if I right click on it here in the catalog, I can rename it, and I'm going to call this Washington Overview. All right, but I spelled it wrong. Overview. There you go. All right, so I just renamed the maps in 2 ways, and we talked about what's important about naming your map. All right, so we named it that way. We can also name it that way. Good deal. So a solid map title is going to accomplish the following. You're going to, it's going to describe the place and the function of the map in general, okay? So a solid map title, when you look at the title, you'll be like, okay, yeah, this map is for this place, and this map is for this, it's meant for this function. So did ours do an okay job? Well, Spokane Community College, let me actually double click that, and I'll say close up. Okay, so that's my close-up of Spokane Community College for dealing with details. And then the other one is a Washington Overview. Yeah, good enough. It gave us at least the place and a little bit of the purpose. We don't have a bunch of data in these maps, right? But you know, if we did have something like Spokane Community College buildings, or Spokane Community College, you know, infrastructure, Spokane Community College trees, or Washington Overview. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the community colleges there in Washington. That's why I just called it Overview. But if I was on it and I knew exactly where these maps were going to go, I would have the geographic area, then the purpose, and we'll work on this as we move through the quarter. All right. So we've already been doing a little bit of this, but our next essential question is, how do I move around in the map and use bookmarks? Okay, so you've probably already been doing this. I've been demonstrating it, although you can't really see my hand. So I like to work pretty much exclusively with a mouse. So clicking and dragging on your mouse to move it around is called panning. So right now, and it's a left click, just a standard click. I just clicked on Spokane Community College, and you can see how I get a hand, and it's a little pointer finger, and then when I click and I pull it around, it turns like a little fist. And this is called panning. So if instructions tell you to pan in your map, that's what panning is to left click, hold it down, and so I'm still holding that click down as I move around, and it moves the location that I can see on my map. So that's called panning. And then we've got another thing that you guys have probably already been doing with me, and this is called zooming. I use the ball on my mouse, and I pull the ball toward me to zoom out to a larger scale, and I push the ball away from me to zoom back in. There's a little pan to get me back to Spokane Community College. I push the ball away from me to zoom in. You can see the scale right down here in the scale bar right here. Okay, let's say I had a specific scale I want to go to. I'm going to come down here to my scale bar, and I'm going to say I want something at a scale of 1 to 24,000. That's our happy place when we're working with USGS maps. So there, that's called panning and zooming. So when you push the scroll ball away from you, you zoom out. When you pull the scroll ball of the mouse towards you, you zoom in. It's called zooming, panning and zooming. What about trackpad? Oh, this is just evil. So some of you crazy students are going to run GIS without a mouse, and you're going to run it on your trackpad. I don't recommend it, but maybe that's because I'm old. I just get frustrated with the trackpad, but let's go ahead and work with the trackpad. I'm going to take a moment and just use the trackpad. So I'm going to use the clicky buttons at the bottom of the trackpad. So right now I'm just using my finger on the trackpad, one finger, to put myself on Spokane Community College. I'm going to hold down the left button, and now I can pan with the trackpad. So that's my fingers moving back and forth on the trackpad, and then the other finger is holding down the left button on the trackpad. What else do I do? To zoom, honestly, I'm not sure how to zoom with the trackpad because I hate using the trackpad. Let's see if I hold down the left button and squeeze. No, squeezing and extending doesn't work. Oh, here we go. If you hold down the middle button on your trackpad and you use your fingers to, kind of like you do on your phone, right? So if you hold down the middle button on your trackpad and you use your fingers to pinch, boop, come on, pinch. So I just pinched to zoom out, and then I'm going to kind of hold my fingers together and open them up to zoom in. So you have to hold down the middle button though for this to happen. Oh no, never mind. I learn new things every day. Okay, so to pan, you do have to hold down. The button here, but to zoom, you can just pinch or open up your fingers like that. Okay, so practice that if you're crazy enough to run GIS with a trackpad. And I mean, plenty of students do. If you grew up like this, if you grew up with this, working on a surface, yeah, like I didn't. Maybe it'll be comfortable for you, but I like my mouse. So I'm going back to my mouse now. Okay, how do you zoom? Well, you pan, hold the left trackpad button, and pan with the other hand. Trackpad, okay. And then to zoom, you're gonna pinch or spread fingers on trackpad. Okay. All right, you brave folks who are actually going to work with a trackpad. Probably half of you are there doing that, huh? Okay. Oh, I already ran over this, but if you know the scale you want to view your map at, you can enter it at the bottom of your map window. Yep, we did that. So right now we're at, looks like we got ourselves to 1 to 9,830. Let's go back to 1 to 24. Actually, let's go 1 to 10,000 because that's like a nice even number. and kind of views campus with just a little bit of context around it. All right, where are we? Let's see here. If you know the coordinates you want to look at, we got some options here. So let's go to our map tab here. Okay, so we're on our map tab, got our map ribbon. We're going to go to XY, and we're going to tell it coordinates we want to go to. Type whatever you want to in here. Remember that in the Western Hemisphere, longitude is going to be negative. So I'm going to say negative 112. Don't know what that is. I'm going to say latitude 46 point. All right, let's see where this takes us. And then I'm going to hit enter. Look at that. So if you just want to go to XY, we'll take you to a coordinate. Let's figure out where we are if I zoom out. Helena. Okay, we are southwest of Helena, Montana, in the Boulder Mountains. Okay, that's not so bad. I took us to a good place. See where, you punch something random in and see where it takes you, okay? I can close that, sends it back up here. Let's see. All right, and if I want to see my location, like I guess I didn't go over this yet. If you move your mouse around, you can see the coordinates for the location your mouse is at down here. So that's kind of useful. And here we don't have the negative and the positive. We have west. That's west is negative and north is positive. So, and I know those of you who take GIS class after you've taken maps and air photos are really comfortable with this. If you're taking GIS class before you take maps and air photos, that's another thing. So, that just minimized it, but it didn't eliminate it. Not sure how you eliminate this. That's the fun thing about GIS. Like I said, you learn something every day. Okay, so let's go back to Spokane here. Who knows where you went? Hopefully you paused me while you went there and enjoyed your trip. But now it's a little bit of pain. I got to get myself back to Spokane Community College, and I've done this so many times it's pretty quick for me. And then I'm like, okay, well, I want it at a scale of 1 to 10,000. So there you go. We're going to show you how to do that faster shortly. So we're going to go to XY is how we did that if we know the coordinates we wanted to look at. If we're looking at for an address or a city, check this out. So let's go back into GIS here. Where did it go? Let's see here. Let's not go to XY. Eyeballs. Let's see. Is it in insert? It's got to be a map. Give me a second. I can just insert an address as well. I just have to find where it is. It's locate. Okay, so I'm going to look for an address here. So I use my locate here. The symbols change with every version. So when I start teaching a new version, it's like, oh, where is that? Okay, so I'm going to do a search here for an address. And this actually pulls it up already. So it's just kind of like you do in Google, right? You start the address and then it finishes it for you. And it just took me to that address. So we just went to coordinates. We can also go to an address with this locate option. And it can search the base map here. It can also search if you've got a layer of features. But the address search works there, and it's going to use a geocoding where we've got addresses put in. Okay, so we just did a few things. If you're looking for an address or city, use the binoculars, okay, to go to. All right, and that's where we're gonna, let's see. Oh, I guess I circled those down here. And then sometimes you're going to want to view an area, and then you're going to want to go back to your detailed work within view a larger area and then zoom back into a detailed work area. A lot of times if you end up working, like say you're in water science, you end up working with a utility and you're working on infrastructure, this can be super useful. A detailed work area within a specific project We're going to use bookmarks for that, and I'm going to help you set up your first bookmark for that. So this next figure shows you go to XY, so that's for your coordinates, go to an address here, and then bookmarks. So let's go there, and I'm going to close that because I don't actually want to be at that address. I actually want to be at Spokane Community College. So I'm going to take myself to my primary work area, Spokane Community College here. I'm going to take it to a scale of 1 to 10,000 and kind of center it there. And then I'm going to use bookmarks. I'm going to call this a new bookmark. And what a bookmark is going to do, it's going to take your map to a specific location at the scale that you specify. So when you want to set up a bookmark, you're going to want to go to the location that you're working at and the scale that you're working at. So 10,000 Spokane Community College, I'm going to hit new bookmark, and I'm going to call this SCC at 10,000. Okay, and I could put a description here if I wanted to. Scale of 1 to 10,000, centered on campus. Okay, so now I just set up a bookmark. Let's see how to use it. So I'm going to zoom way out, take myself somewhere exciting like Montreal. Let's go to Montreal. You go wherever you want. It's not important for this. And then I'm just going to show you that, hey, using my bookmarks, I can come right back to Spokane Community College. So that's useful if you're going in a few different places, and then you know you want to come back to a primary work area. You're going to use bookmarks. Okay. So we just did that. Okay, so that's the end of this first part of the demonstration for section 3. When I come back, we're going to look at base maps. Super fun. They're like candy. We have a good time with base maps. So I will see you next time.